Good afternoon and welcome to everyone attending here in person, and to those watching from home, happy Kindness Week and happy World Kindness Day. It feels so good to be here with all of you. My name is Kelly Petralia and I am the Executive Director of Westborough Connects and a member of the Kindness Week planning team. I am joined today by my fellow Kindness Week co-chairs Megan Gavalis and Laura Samilia. On behalf of the entire Kindness Week Planning Committee, we would like to thank you for joining us today. Westborough Connects is a grassroots nonprofit organization with a mission to build kindness, resilience, and connection in our community. Kindness Week was born out of a programming committee brainstorm session in the spring of 2018. Of course, we know we should do our best to be kind every day, but the idea for an entire Kindness Week was simple: rally around the concept of kindness as a community to bring it into focus and prioritize it. The children in our community have an opportunity to learn and practice kindness all throughout their schooling. For adults, the further we get away from that time in our lives, the less opportunities we have to sit back and think about intentional kindness, its impact on our own lives and the people around us. Kindness Week is an opportunity for that social emotional learning on a community-wide level. Sometimes it can be a challenge to see the kindness in our community, particularly since we have had fewer opportunities to be in each other's company over the past couple of years. And social media doesn't paint a good picture of how we really want to be treating each other. But if we can come together and focus on this here today, throughout the next week and then beyond, maybe we can move into tackling some of the tougher stuff together too. We have some work to do, and the kindness planning team and Westborough Connects don't have all the answers, but looking around and knowing many of you, I think we can figure things out together. At this time, we would like to thank the Westborough Public Schools and the Westborough Public Library for co-sponsoring this speaker event and for always being such enthusiastic and generous partners for Kindness Week. We are also grateful to these additional financial sponsors for their support of Kindness Week: Reliant Foundation, Central One Federal Credit Union, Pastoral Counseling Center of Massachusetts, Realtor Stephanie Stuplick, Right at Home of Eastern Worcester County, and Highlands Gracious Retirement Living. I want to personally express my gratitude to Megan Gavalis and Laura Samilia, my own partners in kindness, for their unbelievable and beautiful vision, dedication, and untold hours working together to make this happen. It wouldn't be possible without them. Together with Megan and Lauren, we are all grateful to our volunteers and for our many partners in kindness out there who will be amplifying the spirit throughout the week through numerous initiatives and promotion around Westborough. Our partner Spark Kindness is also celebrating Kindness Week this week. We are excited for this cross-community week-long celebration, and we look forward to sharing information about their week as well. As always, we appreciate Westborough TV filming here today. They are live streaming for our at-home viewers, hello, and we'll be rebroadcasting this throughout the week. Thank you to Karen, Aiden, and Jeff, the amazing team at Westborough TV. I also want to thank Steve and Steve here at the high school for running all of our technology and making sure all of the facilities are ready and set to go for us today. They've been awesome, and Josie. Finally, if you are able and wish to support future community program events like these, which are always free to attend but cost money to produce, please consider a donation to Westborough Connects. You can find more information on our website, westboroughconnects.org. Thank you. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to Megan Gavalis, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Yay.
Thank you, Kelly. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. Like Kelly mentioned, my name is Megan Gavalis. I'm one of the Kindness Week co-chairs and a volunteer for Westborough Connects. I'm thrilled to be able to introduce our keynote speaker to you today. Susan Verde is a New York Times best-selling children's author, a children's yoga and mindfulness expert, and a parent of 3. Her award-winning stories tell tales of magical museum visits, share the keys to lasting friendships, and help you find a moment of calm in a sea of busy. All of her books have been translated into multiple languages and are read around the globe. Susan's book, I Am Human, a book of empathy, became an instant #1 New York Times bestseller in 2018. I Am Love, a book of compassion, released more recently, also made the New York Times bestselling list. Both books are part of Verde's I Am series, a collection of stories illustrated by the incredible Peter H. Reynolds that she wrote to make children feel empowered, seen, and to believe in themselves. Susan's books, with their focus on social-emotional learning, continue to inspire children, educators, yoga practitioners, and mindful humans alike, helping to cultivate empathy and kindness in all of us. We cannot wait to be inspired through Susan's work and her words as a community here in Westborough. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming our Kindness Week keynote speaker, Susan Verde.
Hi, everyone. I'm just going to say that this is my second now in-person event, and it fills my heart with so much joy. Before COVID, I was traveling all over the country, all over the world, all over the place, and then obviously that got shut down. And now I'm just easing back into the in-person, and it really is, there's nothing like it, to be honest. So thank you for all coming in your masks and all, and coming together for this. So I just want to thank Westborough Connects for reaching out to me and for putting this together. I mean, kindness obviously is something we need to do, try to do, incorporate into our lives, teach our children every day, all the time. But celebrating it, really emphasizing it, really talking about ways we can actively engage in kindness during this week is just so important, right? It's just a refresher. It's like, oh yeah, I do that, or oh yeah, I could do this, or whatever it is, or just even the time that you're spending together right now here is full of kindness and joy. So I'm just very excited to be here and honored that I was asked to come talk to you about kindness. A lot of the books I write about and the things I do and the way I teach and all of those things, I hope that they spread this message, this sentiment of kindness. And I think a lot about myself as a child and all the things that I wish I had been told or been able to work on or knew I was allowed to talk about, right? And so those are a lot of the things that are infused into my books, but we'll get into that later. So as you can see, there's this picture of these beautiful children I visited in person many years ago at a school. And I'm actually going to ask you to do what they are doing. So I teach yoga and mindfulness to kids, and often, probably 99% of the time, when I get together with a group, I always start with something like this. Often when we come together, we've come from somewhere else, right? Another room, another location, another mindset. And we're thinking about what just happened. All the to-dos, all the things we didn't get done, all the worries, something that was distressing, whatever it is, or just the rush of getting to a place. Or our minds are thinking about what comes next. What's happening? When is this over? I'm hungry, I'm tired, I've got all these things to do, whatever. And I like to do this because it kind of brings us all together in our minds and our bodies into this one moment, which is what we're trying to do with our connection here. So I'm going to ask that everyone take one hand and put it on your heart, and the other and put it on your belly. And you can close your eyes. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, that is so okay. Just look at a spot in front of you, maybe the back of the chair in front of you, so that you're not worried about what anyone else is doing, because this is all about you. So I'm going to ask you, even though we're wearing masks, to breathe in deeply through your noses like you're smelling something wonderful, like cookies out of the oven, or I don't know, fresh flowers. And then when you breathe out, you'll just blow out slowly through your mouths, maybe like you have a candle in front of you and you want to make the flame flicker, but you don't want to blow it out, right? And you'll feel in your mask, actually, what I've learned, is you'll feel that the air you breathe in through your nose is cooler, and the air you breathe out through your mouth is warmer. And maybe you can even bring your attention to that feeling. So we're going to do this together. So everyone breathe in through your nose like you're smelling something wonderful. And then blow out very slowly like you're flickering that flame. Maybe you could feel the air in your hands, on your chest or your belly. And let's do that again. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your mouth. We'll do that one more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Now staying just as you are, one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, eyes closed or looking down, I just want you to repeat after me, and we're going to come back to this kind of thing at the end. I am a good person. I am a kind person. I am a beautiful person. I love myself. Okay, you can open your eyes, you can put your hands wherever they're comfortable, you can return to your normal breathing. So a lot of times when I do that with kids, they feel very awkward saying those things out loud to themselves, right? First of all, they're saying it out loud. And second of all, they're saying kind things to themselves. And often that's something new. We practice, as we should, being kind to others. But if we are not being kind to ourselves, if we are not feeling good inside, it's very difficult to share that kindness. So I always feel like kindness starts within us, right? So if we can get more comfortable telling ourselves, and we don't have to do it out loud, how amazing we are, we'll feel better inside, and we'll be better able to share that feeling, right? So that's why I do that. So let's see if the clicker works. It's working. So like I said, I'm an author. I write primarily picture books, and I do not do the illustrations. Somebody else does the illustrations. My skill is the writing, and theirs is the drawing. But it is my job. It is something I love to do. It's not something I always knew I was going to do. I loved writing to take care of myself. You know, I had a diary, and I wrote poetry and all kinds of things. But it wasn't until later on that I realized, oh, I actually have things that I'd like to share with a wider audience than just my mom. So it was something I started working on, and it was a goal. Before that, I was actually a kindergarten teacher for many years. So these are some of the books I've written. My very first book was called The Museum, and it's all about how art makes us feel all kinds of things, right? Mad, glad, scared, excited, like we need to move, all of these things, and how all of that can inspire us to be creative on our own. A lot of my books have to do with take care of yourself, or being in the present moment, really being aware, noticing, and then taking from that to be inspired, to care for yourself, to care for others, to cultivate friendships, to create and bring your community together. Let's see. I've even written some fractured fairy tales that are quite yoga and mindfulness inspired. Raise your hand if you've ever done yoga before. And has anyone practiced mindfulness, mindful meditation? Yeah, okay, so you guys all know what I'm talking about. So, you know, I wanted to take these fairy tales that exist in the world and give them a little yoga mindfulness flip, right? So for example, the 3 little yogis and the wolf who lost his breath. In this one, the wolf has lost his huff and puff. So when he's feeling angry and frustrated, he can't blow anything down, right? He can't harm anyone else, and he doesn't know what to do with all these feelings. So these 3 little piggy yogis kind of help him out and help him figure out how to manage his feelings, his big feelings a little bit more. And then the Tossing Turning Princess and the Pesky Pea, that's all about being able to sleep. I'm a terrible sleeper, my children are terrible sleepers, and we're always trying to figure out how to make ourselves more comfortable even when we're not, right? And then the Tortoise and the Hare is coming out soon, and that one's all about finding balance. I feel like there's a little delay. I have to be in the right spot. Oh goodness. Thank you. Technology. So I'm also a mom. So these are the things, you know, the reason I share this with you is because these are all the people who inspire me, the things that make me want to be a better person, a kinder person. You know, these are my reasons for needing to be and wanting to be an example of kindness, of empathy, of all of those things. And you think, you know, we're sort of born with this innate kindness, but as we get older and as the world gives us more and more stuff to deal with, sometimes we lose that. And it becomes something that we need to teach or remind or model. And so, these are my immediate reasons, and then the world is also another reason. My sons are seniors in high school, which is it's very hard to keep it together and be kind all the time when you're filling out college applications. And then Sophia is 16, so I'm in a house with teenage energy right now. So kindness is really something we have to work at, right? Anybody who has teenagers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I might ask you to just hit the button if that's okay. Okay. And these are my other reasons. These are the crazy animals that live in my house. I just thought I would show you, especially some of the kids, because I don't know why we have all these creatures in the house. I guess we can press the buttons again because it'll show all their names. So this hairless creature is Dakota, and that's Oliver. And then we have Mark Antonio. I don't know where the names came from. Gizmo, but this is my favorite. That's Cuddles. Do you guys think Cuddles is cuddly? No, Cuddles is not cuddly at all. But Cuddles actually did inspire some writing of mine. I wrote a little poem about Cuddles at one point. So, but these are also reasons, right? We have animals, we agree to take care of these creatures, and they require lots of care, lots of work, and lots of kindness. So another reason, another inspiration, another why. We can go to the next. And so, like I said, I teach yoga and mindfulness. So I learned early on, when I was going through a lot of stressful things in my life, that my yoga practice helped me so much, because it helped me not only get the stress out of my body, but also it helped me be in the present moment, right? And not worry so much about before or after. And then I slowly learned to be kinder to myself, like we talked about in the beginning. And that was the same thing with my mindfulness practice. And so after I stopped teaching kindergarten, I wanted to still I took some time off to be with my kids when they were babies, and then I wanted to have a way to get back in the classroom, but not really full time, because anyone who teaches knows that it's obviously not a 9-to-3 job. It's an all day, every day, all the time job. And I couldn't expend that kind of energy, but I did want to make a difference. So I started training and teaching yoga and mindfulness to kids. And so my hope was that when we have these big feelings, that we don't get lost in them, and that we learn ways to accept our feelings, know that it's okay to have them, but not let them take over. Like, if you can think of some time when you were, so angry that you did something you wish you hadn't done, right? You yelled, you threw something, you broke something. It's okay to be angry, but when those feelings take over, you stop being good to yourself. You stop making choices that are helpful, and you just do. You just let the feeling run the train, right? And you're just riding along. But when you start practicing mindfulness, like the things that we did in the beginning, where we breathe, where we notice, where we even notice the temperature of our breath, that's when you give yourself a moment to make a choice. Okay, I'm really angry right now. And you know what? I'm a human being, and it's okay to be angry. What am I going to do now that's good for me and not harmful to the people around me? And that's part of this whole idea of kindness, right? It's how do we make choices that allow us to have our feelings, but also keep everyone else safe, right? Take care of ourselves in those moments. So that's what practicing mindfulness and yoga do, at least for me, and I hope that when I'm teaching it to kids that it's doing the same for them. So we can go to the next one. So this particular series of books, and this is what we're really going to explore a little bit more together as we move on, is called the I Am series. As you can see, each title starts with I Am. And it actually, I didn't start out with it being a series. I started with I Am Yoga. I had been teaching yoga for a while, and my publisher said, why have you not written a book about yoga? You teach it all the time, it seems to make sense. And I thought, oh yeah, good idea. So I wrote this one book. And what I decided as I was writing it is that I didn't want it to be an instructional book about, you know, if you bend your knee this way or if you do that, you're going to be in this pose and that's what it's going to look like. Instead, what I wanted to do is write about how yoga can make us feel, how we can tap into our imagination, how when the world seems so big and hard to manage, we have a way to manage it and to feel good inside. And so that was I Am Yoga. And then, of course, I was like, well, after that, I have to write something about mindfulness because they're so connected. So that's when I Am Peace came. And I Am Peace, again, it's about how you can stop and be in the present moment and not get carried away on that train or that boat of feelings, right? How you can really take care of yourself. And so I was inspired to write a lot of these books because, again, I feel like it all starts with us. We are all of these things. We are born with all of these things. We just have to learn how to tap into them. We have to remember that they're there. And then once we can do that for ourselves, then we can spread it to everyone. We can share it with everyone, right? We can teach others how to be kind. We can lead by example. I Am Human, which we're actually going to read together today, is all about kindness and empathy specifically, and I will talk a little bit more about that when we get to the book. And the newest one is I Am Courage, and it's funny because when you write books, typically between the time you've written them and the time they come out into the world, it's at least a year. So you don't know necessarily what's going to be happening in the world when your book comes out. And I actually had written I Am Courage probably 2019, so I did not know. I did not know what we were going to be facing, and I did not know all of the courage that was going to come out of it and all of the things that should be celebrated. I was just thinking about everyday courage and how people don't even realize how brave they are all the time. Just the smallest thing is brave, right? Asking for help, trying something new. That's brave, and that should be acknowledged. But then we had this, larger situation. And there were more and more examples of courage. So it was kind of interesting that it came out at the same time. I won't say it's fantastic because I would take anything not to have that have happened and have that book come out and be so, resonate in that way. But so we can go on to the next one. So again, I just want to thank everybody at Westborough Connects. I'm really excited that this is the kickoff and this is the week that you guys are going to be celebrating, and I actually am going to keep checking in because I want to hear about all the different things that come out of this and the acts of kindness. I know there are a lot of activities after this too. Right? So kindness is the foundation, right? Kindness is how we sort of do everything. If we are coming from a place of kindness, then anything is possible, really. We can communicate, right? We can celebrate, we can accept, we can disagree respectfully. But if we're coming from that place of kindness, and kindness being the foundation, like I said before, kindness begins with us. So I'm so sorry, I'm going to ask you to be my technology person. So kindness starts with you, right? So how do we speak to ourselves? These are the things that I think about all the time, and what I noticed in my classroom, what I noticed with my own children, what I noticed with my friends and family, or even strangers. We're so quick to say negative things. How many times have you said, oh, I'm so stupid, I can't believe I did that, or I'm so, without even thinking. That's like our go-to. And so we need to really think about how we speak to ourselves. Because again, we're so quick to do that, but yet we're not so quick to say, I'm a good person, I'm a kind person, I'm a beautiful person, I love myself. That's more difficult than saying, I can't believe what I just did. What's wrong with me? Things like that. So what I was thinking about with all of these books, especially the I Am books, is, how can we change our inner speak, right? How can we do that? we can model it, we can do yoga, we can do mindfulness, we can read books, and then we can have the conversations. The hope is that, you know, the books are not the entire answer, but they're the way to start the conversation, to show examples and then take it further. So that's what I was thinking. So oh, that's okay. No, don't be sorry. So I'm just gonna read it. But be kind to yourself. Don't say things to yourself that you would never dream of saying to anyone else, right? You would never say the things you say to yourself to anyone else. Okay, I'm sorry, now you can go forward. So I'm not gonna read the whole book, but in thinking about that, and in thinking about being able to talk to ourselves, which sounds like a silly concept, in the book I encourage a book of resilience. I just have this one section that's the most meaningful to me and hopefully to the reader from the book, so I'll just read it to you. So, when there are challenges in front of me, when I feel unstable like I might fall, when my mind tells me I can't, I look inside myself and find the strength that lives deep down, and I tell my mind, yes, I can. So to me, that's where we start, right? When we hear these thoughts in our head, when we learn to say, I don't have to believe everything my mind tells me, I can actually talk back to it with kindness, right? Not, oh, why are you saying this to me? But, oh, wait a minute. I understand you might be trying to protect me from something, brain, but actually, I can. Yes, I can. I can do that. I can try to do that. And if I make a mistake, that's okay, right? So that one line just gets me. So be kinder to yourself, right? And then let your kindness flood the world. So that's how I think about these books, is learning to, you know, remember who you are, to be kind to yourself, and then that's how we share it with others. So that was the inspiration really for I Am Human, a book of empathy. You know, I wrote that book because there were two things that really inspired that book. One is I was at a dinner with my illustrator, Peter, and his son, who was young at the time, and my daughter. And somebody knocked something over at the table. And instead of getting upset or angry, one of the adults, thankfully, at the table said, that's okay, you're only human. And Peter and I looked at each other, and I said, oh yeah, right. We need to talk about that. We need to talk about that. So there was that. And then in the world, I started to notice that at least the adults in the world were forgetting how to communicate with each other with kindness. There obviously over the last few years have been a lot of disagreements and things that are changing and scary and all of that. And we've forgotten how it's okay to disagree, that we're all human, we're all different, but we're still connected by these feelings that we all share as humans. So, I mean, even, you know, if I were in a classroom and I can say it to you now, I would have you just sort of look around the room and notice no one looks like anyone else, right? We all look different. We all look different. And thank goodness we do. That's what makes life beautiful and interesting. But on the inside, we share so many things. We all know what it's like to feel sad. We all know what it's like to be embarrassed. We all know what it's like to feel joy, to feel a sense of wonder, right? We all share these things so that when we're communicating, if we can communicate from a place of connection, then it's okay if we disagree. In fact, how boring would it be if we all thought the same way, right? So I think we can go to the next. So empathy was really that idea of putting yourself in someone else's shoes. That was really, really the impetus for this book, right? Remembering that we share all these things, that we are all human together. So, and that way, once we remember, once we start acting that way, we can disagree, but we can do it with respect, right? And we can find common ground. We can learn from our mistakes, because if we make mistakes and we're telling ourselves all these terrible things, then how will we ever learn? How will we ever grow? How will we ever overcome a challenge? We can make change if we're coming from a place of kindness. And then, of course, we can have empathy. We can understand how someone else feels. So, with all of that in mind, I'm going to read you, because I love reading aloud. I am human. So, I was born a miracle, one of billions, but unique. I am human. I am always learning. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibility. I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder. I am amazed by nature. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. But being human means I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and even my silence. I can be hurt too. I can be fearful of things I don't yet understand. I'm timid to try something new. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I am human. But then I remind myself that because I am human, I can make choices. I can move forward. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. I can treat others with equality and be fair. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find common ground. I can say I'm sorry and ask for forgiveness. I am human, one of billions but unique. I am not alone. I am connected to my friends, to my family, to the world. We are all humans together. And I will keep trying to be the best version of me. I am full of hope. I am human. So that's the end of that book. So that was, but it was just really important to me to remember all these ways in which we are connected. And that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to disagree. It's all of it. That's the human experience. But when we come to it from a place of kindness, from a place of self-love, from a place of loving each other, then it becomes a much more connected experience. Then we remember we're all in this together, right? No matter how we're seeing it, no matter what our perspective, we are all in this together. And it's funny, I was hearing some of the speeches from the summit that was just happening, the climate summit, and there was a young, I think she's like 15 from India, and she said something about, I'm not even gonna misquote it, but I'm not just a girl from India, I'm a girl from planet Earth. And I thought like, oh my God, yeah, right? We're all there, that's all of us. So it's just, we're all so connected in that way. We're all here on this earth together with this experience. And so before I hand it over to some questions, and then we'll come back and do something else, we're going to do something together at the end, if that's okay if I say it. We're gonna do a little meditation together. It's called a loving kindness meditation. And it's really about sending our energy outward and also inward, sending our loving energy. And I just love this little description of it, this definition of it. So loving kindness is a profound recognition that our lives have something to do with one another, and that everyone counts and everyone matters. And I guess you can go to the next slide. And this I took right off your website because it so perfectly sums it up, right? Small acts, when multiplied by millions of people, can transform the world. And I just say this to you to kind of sell you on this idea of what we're going to do together, that sending out our energy actually makes a difference because we are all connected. you know, in this experience, right? You send out an energetic field that affects the world around you. And with that heart energy, you have the power to change your world. So I want you to just keep that in mind when we finish up in a minute or two. But yeah, and so right now I guess I'll hand it off if anyone has questions or...
If anyone has questions, we have a mic that can come to you to ask.
And if not, that's okay too.
Put this section over here. Any questions over there?
Do you have plans to write another I Am book?
Aha, I do. I do. We have another one that'll be out next year. It's called, I think right now, it could change, but right now it's called I Am Me, a Book of Authenticity. And you're the first person I've told. So, thank you for your question.
Which of your books is your favorite and why?
Oh, people ask me that all the time. It's like choosing your favorite child, right? You love them all the same, but a little bit differently. That's a really hard one. I guess, you know, I will always have a special place in my heart for my very first book, The Museum, because that's what sort of got me going and able to write all these other books. So that has a little, you know, a little extra meaning. But, you know, I put so much of myself into each one that it really does feel like I have, 13 children or something like that, which seems like chaos, actually, but...
How did your partnership with Peter Reynolds come about?
Oh, yeah. So that was interesting. So I was writing, I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just writing. And I had this huge stack of stuff. And Peter Reynolds, who I was already such a huge fan of his, he was teaching a workshop, like a week-long workshop, near where I live. And I applied for his workshop and I got in, and there were like 12 of us in the class. And one of the perks of being in the class was that you got to share your work with him. And so I, you know, shoved this pile of stuff under his face, and he pulled out the museum, and he said, well, this is a book that I want to illustrate, and if someone else does it, I'll be really upset. And I was like, are you talking to me? And so, yeah, so over the next, you know, 6 months or so, we kind of created this, what they call a dummy. It doesn't sound very nice, but it's a, you know, a fake version of the book. So we actually made it on file cards. He did sketches, and I worked on all the text, and then we sold it, and we started, that's how we started working together. Our publisher wanted us to keep going, and then we wanted to keep going. So it's really such a wonderful, creative, and also like personal relationship. Everything he puts out there in his books. I don't know if you guys know Peter Reynolds. He wrote The Dot, and he's got the new one out, Our Table. Everything he puts out in his books is exactly who he is as a human being. So, but that's how that began. Oh goodness, all the way up in the...
How many books have you written?
Oh my goodness. I think at the moment I have 13 or 14 books out in the world, and then I've got a bunch more coming. I'm also writing my first adult book, which should be out spring 22. Yeah, so that's been a challenge.
Is there anything else that inspires you to write your books?
I mean, sort of everything inspires me. You know, a lot of what inspires me is of course, my children, the children I have taught in schools, the children I continue to teach in schools, the things happening in the world. But a lot of it is also sort of me, like I said in the beginning, sort of working out my own things, you know, thinking about what I really needed to hear. And how can I share that now that I've learned it as an adult after doing so much work? You know, how can I share that so that kids don't have to have all those same feelings of worry and anxiety and all of that I had, that they can get there faster and in a different way. So that's really what inspires me. I do think my mindfulness practice is helpful because I try to pay attention a bit more, probably to some people too much, but, but yeah, so those are the things that really inspire me. Thank you. And of course, reading other books, always reading. There are so many good books out there, oh my goodness. They are really inspiring.
Thank you.
Sure.
Can you briefly discuss how science informs like your whole kind of methodology? Because certainly it's a big movement. Yeah.
Sure. I mean, obviously, I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to get too technical, but I will tell you what I do know. So when I first started teaching yoga and I wanted to teach it in schools, there was actually a lot of fear and a lot of kind of resistance because it felt very heady, it felt very, people were concerned it was religious or there were, I was indoctrinating children into believing a certain way. And since then, sometimes I do change my languaging. But when mindfulness started to become more of a practice, there began to be more research, and research into the brain, into the nervous system, how doing these exercises, even things as simple as breathing in through your nose, is a signal to your body to for your nervous system to calm down. So what happens is when you are anxious, worried, upset, that you go into that fight or flight mode, right? And so the sort of reptilian part of your brain, the old part of your brain, that amygdala part of your brain, when you were in caveman times, that you needed it to turn on so you could survive, so you could run, hide, fight, whatever you needed to do, that turns on. And when that turns on, all of your other systems basically shut down. You stop digesting, you stop functioning in a way that cares for your body. You are really only about filling your limbs with blood and getting ready to, and the front part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, that is the decision-making part of your brain, that is the, calming, problem-solving part of your brain, there's no communication. And so with these practices, what they've found is that communication opens up. So when you take these deep breaths, when you do these exercises, even with the yoga, when you are in your body, when your attention goes to feeling your body or noticing where you are in space or things like that, or you're listening to a bell, simple things like that, this communication opens up. Your nervous system calms down, your other functions kind of come back into place, and what they've discovered is that in terms of schools, that helps with test scores and classroom management and all of those things that teachers are constantly struggling with in their classrooms. So there is certainly a great deal of science and research behind it. That's the best I can do, not being a scientist, but that's what I know. So I do know that physiologically things happen. So it's not just all in your head or made up stuff. There's really real evidence, studies done in schools, done with, I think mindfulness-based stress reduction was actually first done in a hospital with patients who were in pain and their treatments weren't helping them. And this was a different approach to see if maybe doing these kinds of exercises would help with their well-being. And it did. So that's what I know about the science. And I think, when you're talking about yoga, there are ways to do those same movements without using any of the Sanskrit terms, any of the terms that might be triggering or worrisome. It's really just mindful movement. It's really just movement where you're paying attention to what you're doing in your body. And that's all it has to be. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, Susan, for all of those, first of all, amazing answers to some hard questions, and for just your inspiring words and just taking what should be simple concepts, but that we all really need to be reminded of sometime. So Susan's going to be hang tight for 1 minute while I just go through some of the boring logistical things. As Kelly mentioned before, I'm Laura Samalia. I am one of the co-chairs of Kindness Week and the programming co-chair of Westborough Connects. Just have some quick things to share. Like I said, and Susan had told us she's going to close out the portion of this event by leading us in a loving kindness meditation at the end. So the Westborough Connects Kindness Week planning team would really like to invite everybody to join us in the cafeteria following this part after the kindness meditation for some community building activities for all ages. And they're going to be led by several of our partners in kindness. To name just a few, the Westborough Public Library's mobile library is here where you can check out books today, kindness themed books. The police department is here to have a cash with a cop. They're going to be outside. The Women's Club is here hosting many tables. They are doing a knitting with neighbors area. They have intergenerational story time in the library, and they're also making kindness cards with you for local unsung heroes. We are also excited to welcome back Drumhead Dave. He had joined us for our very first Kindness Week when we were in person, so we're excited that he is back to lead a community drum circle. These and several other activities will provide us with a fun way to build connections with one another and to work toward creating a kinder and more connected Westborough. We hope that everyone can join us after. Just as a quick reminder, please make sure to pick up your Take and Spread Kindness toolkits, which are in the cafeteria. They will help you to spread kindness all week long. If you're watching from home, you can come to the main entrance at the high school. There's a turnaround part before 4 p.m. and we have your toolkit ready to go with your name on it. This year's toolkit contains several suggested activities, resources, and materials, as well as a schedule of all the events and initiatives happening all over Westborough this week, and there are a lot of them. We ask that you just take one toolkit per family, just to make sure everyone can go home with one. And there were feedback forms as you came in. We'll be collecting those on your way out if you can't join us in the cafeteria, but if you can, just take that with you, and we have an area there. We really appreciate your honest responses so that we can continue to bring you programs that you will enjoy, hopefully. And finally, we're really excited to have local independent bookseller, Huga House Books, here with us this afternoon. She has Susan's I Am series of books available for purchase. They will be located in the cafeteria right next to Susan, who has graciously agreed to stay and sign some copies of the books for a short while before she has to get back on the road to New York. Westborough Connects is really appreciative of Huga House Books for generously directing a portion of the proceeds from book sales of the I Am series of books made this week back to Westborough Connects for a future literacy-related event. Huga House Books has also sponsored our book raffle that you may have noticed when you walked in. They've donated 3 sets of signed books. So we are excited to choose those winners now. The raffle winners, when we call your name, you can pick up the books. We'll have them at the Huga House table down in the cafeteria, so you can remain in your seats for now. We'll have them down with you. And in order to pick those names, I'm gonna call up our kindness crew and trainees to come on up. These kiddos are a big part of our planning. So winner 1, do you know this name? Who is that? Who is it? Grandma. Jack, we're gonna pick. Amelia, go. Yeah. Our final winner. Chris Allen. So again, congratulations to the winners. We will have those books down by the Huga House table. And thank you again, Huga House Books, for donating those. We really appreciate it, for Susan for signing them. And like I said, that's it from us. We're going to leave you with Susan and a loving kindness meditation, and then everyone can quietly head down to the cafeteria if you're able to join us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so whether you believe that we are energy, we are connected, that our words reach people, all over, or whether you just want to look at this as a way to kind of be here in this moment, in your body, in your mind, you can approach it either way. Either way is beautiful and wonderful because it's your experience. So what I'm going to ask you to do is what we did in the beginning, is put one hand on your heart space, one hand on your belly, close your eyes or look down at a spot in front of you. And I'm going to ask you to repeat after me. So first what I'm going to ask you to do is bring to mind someone you love so much. Could be parent, friend, pet, whatever. Just someone you really, really, or something you really, really love. And picture that person or pet. I don't think I'd be picturing cuddles, frankly, in your mind. And once you've got them there, repeat after me. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May your life be filled with peace. Just take a deep inhale. Exhale. Okay, let that person or thing go. Now I want you to bring to mind someone who actually might be a little challenging for you. And when I do this with kids, you have to be aware if there's been trauma or something like that. So maybe it's just someone who's irritating you, or someone who you've had a little disagreement with, or someone who is really just challenging you right now. And once you've got that person in your mind, we're going to say the same things to them. So repeat after me. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May your life be filled with peace. Take a deep inhale. Exhale. Let that person go. Now, bring to mind maybe people you don't know, you don't know what they look like, you can't see them, but just someone out there in the world who you think might need a little extra love and support. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's the elephants in Africa who are being chased, sought after by hunters, or maybe it's kids in the world who maybe don't have enough to eat, or some group that you think might need a little support. And we're going to say the same things. May you be happy. May you be healthy. May you be free from suffering. May your life be filled with peace. Deep inhale. Exhale. Let that go. Last thing, we're going to turn it inward. So either you can picture yourself sitting in front of a mirror, or maybe with your hand on your heart, you can notice your heart beating, right? You're thinking of you. So now repeat after me. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I be free from suffering. May my life be filled with peace. Deep inhale. Exhale. Just take a moment to notice how you feel. If any of that was difficult, boring, hard, beautiful, whatever it was your experience, and that makes it perfect. You can open your eyes, and that is our time together. Thank you all so much.